12 plugs, 12 sections. They'd be like, oh, here's 8,000 feet, we'll do it 12 times. I'm going to give you a visual that'll help you. If you go to your home and you open up the water spigot by your house, and you had a 6-inch hose, you're going to get tremendous pressure. You're going to get pretty much all the pressure from that water line coming out on that spigot. You run that water hose out 2 miles, and you're going to get a dribble because you don't have the pressure. So what the oil companies have figured out is when we were trying to frack 2 miles, we were losing all of our sand, all of our injection, all of our pressure. It just wasn't getting us. So realistically, the back 2/3 of the wells never went around because some of these vintage wells are way underproduced. By isolating the plugs, they now can have the geologist, the geophysicist, the engineer say, when we drilled it, it cut harder here and softer here. Now this is backwards. In the old vertical days, we were looking for sand and soft. We wanted porosity and permeability. It's the opposite in shale. We want it brittle. We want it hard, like tapping a hammer at the bottom of a swimming pool. We want it brittle, so when we do frack it, it shatters. So now we look at the drilling penetration, we look at the drilling rate, we look at how it drilled, and that tells us, the production engineer, here's where we should be fracking, here's where we should set the plugs. So if you have a really soft section, you may say, don't even frack that, you're wasting your time, you're going to lose all that energy, it's not going to absorb it. But this area was really hard and has good geological signs, we're going to bust this up with a really big frack in that particular perforation. This is all what they've learned over the last 10 years. So now they're able to go out 2 miles, now they're doing 60-stage fracks, now they're pumping in 25 million pounds of sand, 700,000 barrels of water. Now we're pumping half a Padre Island in the well, right?
Horizontal well, and if they're going to the other side of the wall, right?
Yeah.
How do you measure that, and how do we divide that profit? It's only coming from their side.
Well, the first thing to remember in Oklahoma, everything is done by sections and forced pooling. So they do it by square miles, by sections, subsections, quarter sections, 8 sections, right? So the first thing is no one knows, if I drilled a horizontal well right here, is there a crack that goes from here and 9 miles that way when I'm pulling oil from 9 miles away, right? So what they did to make it fair is they said, if you're in this square mile, and I'm going to need 1 square mile based on depth and distance, everybody in there gets their pro rata share. Now there's a lot of things that go on in Oklahoma a little different than Texas or let's say North Dakota. They have a commission that actually has hearings where I'm in the section over here that they say, well, the well didn't get out far enough, I'm going to give you 33%. And these guys over here are happy because now they went from 50-50 to 67%. These guys can protest and go back and say, no, no, no. We think we actually should have a 50-50 allocation or a balance. This is where Garrett plays a big role in the land side. So the idea is you're never going to know when you drill that horizontal well is the biggest contributor to reserves in the first 100 feet because it was a nice big swarm of fractures, or was it the last 100 feet? You don't know. What you know is they do it by sections. They try to do allocations. The allocations are generally based more on, not on production because they can't verify it, it's based on the lateral.
The biggest
perforation. So they say, what's your bottom perf, what's your top perf, what percentage of that lateral is in this section, and say it's 40%, so you get 40% of the revenue.
And this is public knowledge, so if somebody wanted to verify it, they can go and verify.
And so they have to, like he said, they do hearings and they have
lake. They looked at it from seismic geology and they said, this thing is like a mound. We're going to drill this well, the very highest point right here, and we think it's going to naturally drain because it's made out of porosity and sand. So that well right there drilled here with the idea of draining most of this reservoir. That well over there, somebody came along and said, well, I think it's bigger than he thinks it is, so they drilled over here. Even if the boundary was here, now they're sharing reserves, right? So it's over drilled because everybody thinks, well, I'm in the same reservoir.